Welcome back. Apart from the lockdown timelines, President Buhari in his speech yesterday also provided more updates on the social investment programs, insurance packages for the health workers, as well as a directive to the CBN to implement more financial stimulus for SMEs, as well as guidelines on how businesses should function during the easing of the lockdown. We have with us in the studio now the Director General of the Nigerian Employers Consultative Association, Mr. Timothy Olawale, to analyze the implications of the President's directives for the economy. Good morning, Mr. Olawale. Thanks for coming on the program.
Good morning. Thanks.
So before now, NECA, of course, had lent its voice to the easing of the lockdown and going by the President's directives yesterday to ease it from next week. Are you satisfied with this, especially with the one-week extension?
Well, if you ask me and if it's within my control, I will have wanted the ease on lockdown to be like from yesterday.
Why? In
other words, 1 week is also a luxury. And the simple reason is that, you know, what we've been advocating is to do some sort of damage control to avoid a situation where a bad situation becomes more complicated and more damages are done. And I will break it down if you permit me. One of the cries of NECA is the impact of the lockdown on businesses. And it is so devastating that even if you ask businesses to resume today, most likely it is not likely that they are just going to, with a snap of finger, recover immediately. And what do I mean by this? Several of them, it will take months for them to recover their motion. Many businesses that have gone under key, and for instance in Lagos State, it's not just 4 weeks. We've done a week before the official proclamation by the President for the first 2 weeks and the second 2 weeks. So we've done 5 weeks of business shutdown in Lagos State. And many of them are under heavy burden, financial burden, as we speak. Majority of businesses in Nigeria do not have reserves, financial reserves, as is erroneously believed. Basically, they operate from hand to mouth because even the environment before the lockdown was inclement and they were basically struggling for survival. Now with the lockdown, many businesses are heavily indebted. No income, no revenue generation, yet they keep paying bills. Wages for workers, statutory pays or remittances to government and agencies of government, and so on and so forth. So, in other words, it's double jeopardy for them. So while we appreciate the fact that life is very essential, but we also are saying that while we are cautious with regards to what we do, with regards to the protection of lives, we should find a way of balancing it also with the economy, so that eventually when coronavirus becomes history, there will be a life for us to come back to. And besides that, there will be work and jobs for employees. Already we know we have very serious unemployment situation in Nigeria. We are not prophet of dooms. We are not crying wolf where there is no wolf. But the reality is that the longer we stay where businesses are shut down, the more the palpable fear that more jobs will be lost.
So you talked about doing a damage control.
Yes.
What sort of damage control do you think will be done this period?
Like for instance, while I've itemized all the damages that have been done to business by the lockdown, not because government also desires it, but it becomes inevitable. Now what we should start thinking of, and that is why it is very important for the lockdown to be relaxed. What we should be thinking of is what can we salvage? Many a times government has said the organized private sector should hesitate in relieving employees of their job as one of the fallout of this lockdown. And we have also, as representative body of employers of labor in Nigeria, we've stressed it to our members that, look, it should be the very last option on their table In other words, as much as it is practicable, avoid disengaging employees. But the situation is not elastic. How long will it be practicable? For how long can we remain out of business and still continue to sustain the entire profile of the workforce that we have? And that is the question. What we are saying is that 5 weeks of business shutdown has actually snapped that elasticity. And many businesses, as it were now, can no longer sustain those profiles of workforce that they had before. So they now have to make hard decisions. They are not trigger happy, but these are hard business decisions that must be made. While we are still encouraging them to say, look, hold on a little bit before you make these harsh decisions. The point is, that was why we believe that the relaxation should have been immediate, so that at least that tolerance level can at least be accommodated. But now we have 1 more week. We'll see how many of them can at least tolerate for 1 more week. What are the options? Many had asked for cancel. Do we do salary reduction? Do we do wage cuts? But we are saying all this should, because we also know that employees that have been loyal to you also deserves to also be carried along, and you accommodate their situation in this particular time. But what you don't have, you cannot give. So that's why we said, okay, within this period, as many employees as are required, continue to retain them. Those that you know are not essential, why we are not saying you should totally disengage them, but you must have a way of a midpoint understanding with them. Engage them to let them know with facts the situation, the economic situation in your organization. Show them facts, show them figures, show them economic trends, show them your liabilities, and be very open. Where you have unions, engage the union and carry them along. Do not make decisions behind their back. Carry everybody along. And once you agree with them that, look, this is the critical situation or the critical point we are, then you can now make a decision whether it's going to be half measure or total disengagement or whatever. But also assure them that immediately your situation improves, which will also be something that you can track together with their representatives. Definitely they'll be your first point of call.
Now, let's talk about the number of confirmed COVID-19 cases in Nigeria. Of course, we've seen a spike every day. Even after the president's speech yesterday, we still saw figures from
Definitely.
the NCDC. Are you not worried that these numbers will keep rising? And are you not worried for businesses while they resume?
If you even ask me, I would say the numbers that we have presently is conservative. If we do mass testing, most likely it will be in the tens of thousands because of our population. In other words, I personally believe it's an understatement of the reality there. But yes, one is a little bit concerned, but you cannot also run away from reality. The reality is that even if you continue to lock down businesses or the entire populace for the next 3 months, and that is the truth, COVID will not go away. Yes, we are working towards flattening the curve, but I think what is fundamental is that we must learn how to coexist with COVID for as long as it is still around.
How do we do that?
And those are basic information that we have shared, which the president also alluded to in his address yesterday. Now we are getting there bit by bit. Once you relax the lockdown, what we need is to instill discipline in our people. And it is not only the responsibility of government or the armed forces, it is the responsibility of every leader in the society, leaders in the business world, even leaders as within the family circle. And what do I mean by this? If one of the coping strategies is for people to maintain hygiene, we all have the responsibility, even in the world of work, to ensure that occupational safety and health is #1 priority. The issue of hygiene and provision of basic infrastructure to ensure that hygiene takes priority is done. if we say the wearing of face masks and good enough is now becoming mandatory, now it has to be part of our culture to say that you don't even step out of the confines of your home without the face mask. And how to even instill the culture is from the household. Who says that even in the interaction with your family, you cannot engage in the use of face mask? And so on and so on. And if we say there will be curfew, now we should ensure that strictly we enforce that curfew. And I also support the issue of interstate commuting. Let's contain it within our state, except it becomes extremely necessary. And let us see that our law enforcement agencies are really disciplined. This issue of, yes, your movement is cash and carry, if you can monetize it or you are given passage of way, should be a thing of the past because life is involved. So I believe it is a reorientation, it is the enforcement of culture, a new culture that should guide our disposition with regards to this relaxation. And by the way, the issue of lockdown was what we also copied from other economies. Now, for understandable reason, they have also realized that they cannot continue to survive with continued lockdown. And they're already relaxing this lockdown in Europe.
But
Yesterday,
some of these countries actually, began the lockdown even before Nigeria.
They did. As a matter of fact, the point I even want to make is that by virtue of their economy, what they can afford to do, we cannot afford to do. This is an economy that is what Yorubas called dakudaji before. In other words, today is up, tomorrow is down. Now, look at the situation we find ourselves because of our dependence on revenue from oil. Oil sells for less than $20 now. Look at the impact on the economy, the impact on the masses, the impact on the citizenry. Look at the depletion of our economy, of our foreign reserve, with the cumulative effect on the economy and the welfare of Nigerians. Look at the value of Naira now. If with their sound economy, they are thinking of relaxation, I think Nigeria should have done that from yesterday, honestly. We cannot afford to toil. As a matter of fact, Nigerians are going to be worse off for it. It remains to be seen the penalties that we will still pay for the 5 weeks that we've been away from work and from productive businesses. And we cannot delay further. Because when the chips are down, it's the ordinary Nigerians, the masses, the citizenry that are really going to be badly hit by this. And we have to be forward thinking. We don't have to play catch up. So what we need to do is to be disciplined and to implement all the coping mechanisms that will ensure that we live with COVID and resume normal life. And mind you, there has been that projection that notwithstanding whatever is done until we have vaccine, which has been projected not to be likely until September, October. Most likely, we'll still have to live with COVID anyway.
Now, I'm sure that many businesses will want to catch up on, the 5 weeks that they've missed.
Yes.
How do we look at the curfew? Managing the curfew, the restrictions, of course, and Lagos, of course, the traffic situation in Lagos. Do you think that this is actually feasible?
It is feasible because, like I said, it's give and take. When you say that you want a relaxation, there must be something you are going to give in return. And that was why government said, okay, there will be a curfew. You can leave your house from 6 a.m. Then make sure you are back in the house by 8 p.m. Now the challenge is, for some people to get to their places of work, they leave as early as 4:30, 5 a.m. in Lagos. And even when you close 6 p.m. at times, you don't get to your house until 10 p.m., 11 p.m. So the question is, how is this going to work? And that also speaks to the world of the leaders in the world of work. I said before that these are decisions that every one of us have to make to ensure that it works. It's also about discipline. It's also about giving back. And what we need to do is to say, yes, as the chief executive of an organization, we have information, we have data on how long it takes our employees to commute from point A to point B. We have to factor it into their resumption time. If we are done 5 weeks of not staying at work from 9 to 5, I think if you ask your employees, for instance, to resume 9 a.m. instead of 8 a.m. or 10 a.m. instead of 8 a.m., it's still better than being at home. Secondly, we also have to still think about how many of such jobs can still be done from home. Now we have experimented and we also discovered that there are several of our jobs that can be done online. We should still sustain this. Third, with regards to closing time, if you know that your employees require 2-3 hours to commute from where they are to their homes, why not also work on a modality that allows them to close early?
Okay, all right. Director General of the Nigerian Employers Consultative Association, Mr. Timothy Olawale, thanks for coming on Business Morning
It's
today.
my pleasure.